Alright YouTube, it's been a while since I made a video. This is going to be a little bit of a different video though. I'm going to give you a little bit of my spin on certain aspects of the world that I believe and that I see. Well, I'm not trying to make any excuses here. I'm not trying, well, I kind of maybe am in a little bit, but here's what it is. Kind of the gist of it. The simple fact is, if you look at what the media does, the excuses they make for things like Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, and saying all lives matter is racist, kind of represents to me that the media really only cares, or could represent to somebody who may take this very extremely, that it means that they don't think of everyone else's life. Well, being as people like Elliot Rogers, who is half Asian and half white, of course, though, you have femtards like Lacey Green just automatically saying he's white, which to me is just stupid. Now, granted, what he did was very horrible. I mean, that's a terrible thing. But I watched Stefan Molynix's video on it, and I have to say, he covered it somewhat thoroughly, but he didn't really analyze that deeply into it. Again, if it was a half white, half black guy, I think he would have analyzed deeper into it, opposed to it because he was half white and half Asian. He didn't look into it as deeply. It's just something that I notice. And I also have problems with this because of the fact that people deny, condone, and things like this. But they don't do this for Mexicans. They don't do this for Native Americans. They don't do this for Asians. They don't do this for Irish people. They don't do this for anything. An Irish person would go over, and if he went into England or Scotland or something and burned a house down that the people there had ancestral heritage bloodline that was the people who starved to death and refused his ancestors to go somewhere else because of the potato famine, and that they were starving to death, he would just let it happen. So in that sense, in my opinion, the problem therefore is that if you look at these things this way from a PC standard, you'll find that, yeah, there's a lot of these problems in society, and I know that people are going to probably disagree with me. It's fine to disagree. Just tell me, give me some logical reasons why that you think I can enhance this. Because if you look at Mexicans, if you look at Asians, you look at Native Americans, all these people integrated. Native Americans, like for instance, you know, somebody like, let's say, for the sake of an argument, let's say there's a Native American guy that has half Irish, half Native American. Has to grow up in a school in Rochester, New York. Gets bullied every fucking day of his fucking life. I'm gonna swear a lot. I'm sorry about that. Gets bullied every damn day of his life. His life is a living hell. How is he supposed to respond to people outside of all these things? If you look at this, you will see that the problem here is that, you know, and these would be black people, but they would just say, oh, well, he looks, if he looked enough white, they would just say, well, he's white, so that doesn't matter. Not ignoring his Native American culture, ignoring his Irish culture, ignoring all those things, and just simply saying that, and saying, well, he probably used some stupid racial slur in the middle of the goddamn school, so that's why they all did it, and that explains it. Well, yeah, that's a pretty simplistic way to explain it. It'd be like me saying that, sir, the reason your daughter gave me an erection is because she's hot. Yeah, I can explain it like that, but does that prevent me from getting in trouble? No, it doesn't stop anything from happening. You see? As you can see, what I've just said is probably a pretty shocker right there that I just brought that up. But again, like I said, that's not very PC of me. It's a bit of a conjecture on my part as well. You know, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably not the best at doing this. This is my first video doing this. And like I said, I don't hate anyone, alright? I don't hate people. I'm just pointing out things that seem to be this way. If you look at people like Francesca Ramsey on MTV Decoded, she doesn't acknowledge a lot of things. She just kind of ignores everything. She acts like, well, it's fine that people say these things or act this way and think this way and behave this way because of the fact that someone else is like this. And people say, well, why are you so sympathetic toward people who are Hispanic or Mexican or something like that, Craig? And I say to them, well, it's first of all because if you look at what Spain and Portugal did to them in the past, you can find that I've talked about this and people say, yeah, but it was so long time ago, only a few did it. How about if we went up and we said that to a black group of black people? They wouldn't accept it. People in the media would say, yeah, but it happened yesterday, and would act like it's happening every goddamn second of the day. So technically speaking, they would act like it exists now and forever, and that that's basically what has to be said. So hell, if anything, if Al Sharpton could, if somebody went out and used the forbidden word. Yeah, a very forbidden word. And we all know what that forbidden word is. But if God forbid, somebody go out and use that in society, because, he'd probably be like, you know what, it's open season on anyone that's not black that uses it. If they're Native American, he'd be like, I don't care how many people are left in that tribe, I want them to do this to them. And that's exactly what happens. All the time. So, basically what I'm saying is, we all have problems. We all have issues. We all have crap we have to deal with. And again, this is a big generalization just to say things this way. But, you know what? If somebody says something you don't like hearing, and if people are mad at people, like, say for instance, somebody like my favorite guy wants to call him 🀰🍪📧, if people get mad at him and call him this or that, then maybe you should look at yourself and think, what is it that I'm doing that is making people so mad at me? And then stop assuming that the second you change a little bit, that somebody is just all of a sudden going to understand you. I do think it's important that we try to relate to each other. However, with that being said, I also think it's important that we also learn to have the ability to let these things go. So, if we can't let these things go, then maybe we should reevaluate what we're looking into. Should we maybe change who we are? Should we maybe try to better ourselves as people? Or maybe should we just try to figure out what the hell's going on? I mean, either way, we can't just live our lives angry like this all the time. I mean, I just demonstrated a few examples. Chinese people, Asian people were on the railroad, worked on the railroad. It was legal to kill them. It was legal to do this and that. And you could find anything about this. And black people didn't fight for their rights for freedom. And, they were free longer. And also, people will say, yeah, but they had it worse. Well, here's the thing. Alright, if you want to compare like that, you're going to get... You don't want to do this, because comparing who has it worse than someone else isn't a good idea. And because I could say the Native Americans 1 billion times over had it worse than them. I can say that so easily. South American natives, Native Americans, Aborigines, Chinese, lots of Asians. You look at what happened in Japan. The funny thing is about that is that if you look at what that guy did in Dallas, people say, well, he had mental illness, he had this, he had that. Well, here's the thing. I grew up on the autistic spectrum with autism and OCD and all that stuff. Well, I couldn't go around saying I have mental illness, so that's why I threw a brick through someone's window. That doesn't explain the fact that I still threw a brick through someone's window. I can say this all day and say that the reason I did that is because of the fact I have mental illness. It doesn't change the fact that I did that. So, my example here is everyone else, and I know people say, well, building the wall will solve problems in Trump's ideology. Well, here's the thing that I'm saying about Mexicans. We don't really analyze their problems. But if you look in the media, you don't see George Lopez going up there saying, well, you know, for what Spain and Portugal did to us, we should have them give us all their money, everything about them. They should give us every single thing they have there. Or if they don't do it, you know, then the United States should, you know, be like, we're gonna carpet bomb you, we're gonna bomb Barcelona, Catalonia, and Spain, and Lisbon, Portugal, and all those cities. You know, what would that accomplish, though? That would accomplish nothing. And people are going to get mad at me for even pointing this out. But the fact is, I'm pointing something out that is systematic. And this is an exact example of what I'm saying. But you have people like Oprah Winfrey saying that people who are racist, they all just need to die. Well, that's pretty narrow-minded if you ask me. And if you look at people like Shannon Sharp or Colin Kaepernick or idiots like that as well, that go up there and say the same damn shit about the same damn crap, acting like, oh yeah, it's fine that this happens. It's not fine that it happens. Okay, I don't support Donald Trump really either that much, but he's our president. He's the United States president. There's nothing you can do about it. He is a leader. Okay, he is a leader. That is all. If you don't like somebody, that's okay. You don't have to like every single thing about every single person in the world. But the problem is that you have to analyze yourself and think, well, you know what? A lot of people are like this, but not every single one of them are like this. And I'm not saying that every single person who is black is like this. And what I'm trying to say here is that you have to be able to accept someone else's opinion. If someone has a very rocky, rigid opinion about something, you have to be willing to say, okay, this person is pretty opinionated. I got to get myself ready and ready myself for their opinions. You know, got to get your feet wet. You got to be desensitized. It's like with Django Unchained. Quentin Tarantino was trying to desensitize people to racism. And that's all it was. And the fact that Spike Lee, well, he's like saying, well, that's racist. It's a racist movie. Maybe you're looking at it wrong. If you look at it from a movie of learning and experiencing what he is trying to tell you, then you would understand how it isn't like that. Again, back to what I was saying about Latin America. Would that solve anything in your opinions? You can leave comments below if you want to answer my question about that. I mean, Spain and Portugal did some nasty shit. England did some nasty shit. All these places did some nasty stuff. You know, but would that give them the right to, you know, all of a sudden, you know, these native people could migrate to their countries, take them over, have everything in their country, give everything to them, or things like that? Would it make sense that that happens because of what happened to them? Because this is what the media is saying for black people and Black Lives Matter. That they can go anywhere they want and take everything from anyone because everyone, any race, including Asians, Native Americans, Hispanics, you know, white people, Irish, Koreans, and all these things. Like in the Korean language, there's a word that sounds like nigga, and it's part of their language, and it's been part of like that for a long time. And I saw one of my friends on like Facebook, he posted a video on it saying that's why South Korea is one of the most racist countries. I was like, you don't learn anything about the culture of another country, do you? You just automatically assume these things, and people never look into these things deeply. Get your facts completely straight before you just assume things. And that's what I can't stand about society today. Well, thanks for listening, guys. I'm sorry. I just needed to get some things off my chest, so I figured I'd rant in this video. And, well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks. Till next time. Cheers and peace out.